Hello everyone and welcome back to another unpopular opinions video. Today I'm going to be talking about the mainline Pokemon games and what I think about them. I think it would only be right if we started off this video in chronological order, so with that being said, let's jump right into Generation 1. Playing Red, Blue, Green, and Yellow are a bit hard nowadays, simply because it's so outdated. There's no color, walking is super slow, the battle system is broken, and so much more. But does that make these games bad? No, not at all. But they are definitely not the best either. Gen 1, for a time, was absolutely mind-blowing, and the impact that it made on society was massive. So it's quite understandable why so many people love Generation 1 so much. That reason is nostalgia. Having nostalgia for a game is okay, but apparently not in the Pokemon community. If you have nostalgia for Generation 1, you get labeled as a Gen 1er, someone who likes only the first generation of Pokemon and shits on the later generations. Usually the biggest comment is, the Pokemon designs after Generation 1 are all bad, when Gen 1 has Pokemon like Diglett, Voltorb, and Magnemite. I personally think Generation 1 is absolutely amazing and will always have a special place in my heart, but I really can't deny that there are some poorly designed Pokemon in Generation 1, a broken battle system, and outdated graphics and mechanics, and so much more. But that shouldn't be a problem, right? Gen 1 got remade twice, and yeah, actually, the remakes fixed a lot of these problems. All of the problems aside from a few poorly designed Pokemon. But I mean, there's not really much you can do about that, aside from just acknowledging that they are bad, and it is what it is. Fire Red and Leaf Green were both amazing remakes using Generation 3's engine. They fixed a lot of Gen 1's old problems and even added more post-game content. But is it the definitive way to play Generation 1? Well, not in my opinion. I think Pokemon Let's Go are the best, most definitive way to play through Generation 1. These games are the easiest to get somebody into Pokemon. Now hold up, I know most people hate these games and are often considered one of the worst Pokemon games made. But why is that? Why did people hate this game so much? Well, I think it mostly has to do with its tie-ins to Pokemon Go. In Pokemon Let's Go, they took away the option to battle wild Pokemon. This time, you simply just have to catch it, which I agree is pretty lame, and I dislike that feature quite a bit. What I think they should have done was had a battle system with the wild Pokemon and then go into the new catch mechanic, not just skip the battle entirely. I also wish there was a way to turn off EXP share and the option to play with a different controller. But aside from that, there's simply not many other flaws that I can point out. You have a Pikachu or Eevee that constantly follows you around, as well as whatever Pokemon you choose in your party. That has been something that has never been done since, the Generation 2 remakes, Heart Gold and Soul Silver, which was over 10 years ago, guys. We have not had this feature where Pokemon can follow you around for over 10 years, but it got overlooked simply because it had Pokemon Go's mechanics. Aside from that, you no longer have random encounters, which I absolutely love this change. I love the option of not having to run into a wild Pokemon every 2 seconds. The graphics that look pretty good for what they are, the gameplay that's a lot more fair and balanced from the original games, and so much more, like the ability to fly around in Pokemon. I mean, I do wish they brought back the post-game from Fire Red and Leaf Green, but it is what it is, I guess. Most people hated the Let's Go games, but honestly, I loved them. I loved revisiting an HD updated version of Kanto. But what about Johto? I honestly don't have much of an opinion on Johto. The Gen 2 games are great. Gold, Silver, and Crystal are a bit dated and hard to play nowadays, but Soul Silver and Heart Gold still tend to be one of the best games in this series. I do have to say, though, that the new Pokemon in Generation 2, their designs are pretty lackluster in my opinion. I mean, we have Sunflora, Jumpluff, Pineco, and many other terribly designed Pokemon. I mean, we did get a few bangers like Houndoom, Umbreon, and Caesar. And the starters, although they are cute, are for sure the worst bunch of starters we have yet to get. I mean, look at fucking Beanleaf. This thing is awful. They're cute, but they're awful. They're like the cute and ugly thing. And have you seen what they did to my boy Typhlosion when we made the jump to 3D? It still makes me lose sleep at night. Generation 3 is by far, hands down, the best generation we have ever gotten, at least in my opinion. And I mean, that may have to do with a bit of nostalgia, as I grew up with Generation 3, so take that with a grain of salt. But simply put, there were rarely any Pokemon with awful designs. The starters were all bangers. The graphics still look great by today's standards. People tend to say it has an awful soundtrack, but honestly, it all just has a bunch of bangers to me. A lot of people complain that, Gen 3 brought in all the trumpets, but I actually kind of liked it. I loved the music so much. It was so happy and upbeat all the time. I mean, take Slayport City's music for example. I'm not sure why, but it gives me Christmas vibes and I love it. Generation 3 has so many new features added to the game, like Pokemon Contest, the Battle Frontier, Secret Bases, my personal favorite. I spent so much time designing and collecting items for my secret base. Aside from that, there were different bikes, underwater areas to explore, and in the remakes you could fly around the map. And lastly, one of the biggest additions in Generation 3 was double battles, a feature that competitively innovated the battle system and is still used to this day. Gen 3 honestly had only two major flaws for me. Too many HMs and a kind of a lame story. The story wasn't that bad, but it could have been better. But I honestly don't mind that too much, seeing as how they added so many new things to do. I think I'll be doing another video on why I think Generation 3 is the best generation to this date. So, if that is something you guys want to see, let me know down below in the comments. Generation 4. This generation of Pokemon was actually pretty well done in my opinion. Keep in mind, I have not played this generation in a while. Honestly, the last time I played these games were when they came out, almost 15 years ago. Wow. But I do plan on replaying them soon, and I honestly think we will be getting remakes to this generation pretty soon. Maybe 2021 or 2022. But as I remember, the story was pretty cool. Probably one of the better stories we have gotten in a Pokemon game. The designs of the Pokemon were all pretty good as well. There were maybe about 10 designs that I didn't like, and the rest were all really solid. They even gave some love to the older Pokemon and gave them new evolutions like Magmar, Lickitung, and Electabuzz. Honestly, the visuals in this game were really fucking good too. I just really love the 2D sprites. And this game, just like Generation 3, absolutely nailed it with the amazing 2D graphics. Another really cool returning feature that we would see in Generation 4 was the secret bases. Now, this time, they are done a little differently and honestly not as good as Generation 3's secret bases in my opinion. Now, here's why. In Generation 3, you could have your base anywhere, in a tree, cave, or even in a bush. But in Generation 4, you're limited to only having an underground secret base, which was pretty lame in my opinion, but at least they added some fun little mini games like mining and traps. I don't know why they didn't bring back secret bases either. It's a shame. Another thing that I noticed was these games were really slow. I mean, look at this. And I know this was kind of tweaked in Platinum, but I mean, like, this is Gen 1 slow, if not slower, which can make these games a bit hard to go back and replay. And on top of that, another thing that I really disliked about this generation was the amount of legendary Pokemon. There are a total of 14 legendary Pokemon. Like, why? Why do we need that many? Like, the box legendaries and the Lake Guardians and Darkrai, I think would have been perfectly fine and would have made the most sense, honestly. The rest were all just kind of tossed in there, in my opinion. Speaking of the legendaries, Giratina and the Distortion World was by far the best part of this entire generation. This is a location that every Pokemon fan will never forget. And that's all I got for part 1. If you guys like this video, make sure to leave a like, drop a comment of what you guys think of the first 4 generations of Pokemon. Also, make sure you hit that subscribe button and the notification bell as well for part 2 when I go over Gens 5 through 8. Well, with all that being said, I hope you all have a wonderful day today.